Hello and welcome to Best Picture Brain Rot, a podcast where three friends count down to the 100th Oscars by watching every Best Picture winner in order.
Follow along as we give ourselves cinematic brain damage from the very first winner, Wings, to whatever the Academy picks in 2028.
There are 91 weeks until the 100th Oscars, and today we are going to talk about the life of Emile Zola. Surprises, disappointments, hot takes, and plenty of brain rot.
We are your hosts, Adam,
Sarah,
And Drew!
Our 10th Academy Award winner is The Life of Emile Zola. It's our second biopic in a row that follows somewhat of a similar trajectory of early career to death, but it also takes a solid beat to focus on a singular event in Zola's life. This was his involvement with the Dreyfus affair, where a French officer is wrongfully accused of treason, and Zola, who has grown complacent in his late career, chooses to go all out one last time. I call it How Zola Got His Groove
No
Back.
way.
stop it.
Look, if we can do Yancey Supreme, we can do How Zola Got His Groove Back. My first question for you guys before we start is, in a lot of these movies, we've spent a lot of time focusing on Germans and the Brits. But what do you guys think about the French?
I am really qualified to speak on this subject because my first boyfriend was French.
Like French?
Yes, he was from France. His first language was French. He had a twin sister.
Does that make him more French?
Yes, he was French squared. She was my best friend. They were a very interesting family. The women would garden topless. They owned a couple ducks. The mom was really, really sweet. The dad was not. They talked shit about me in French at the table, I'm pretty sure. And the boyfriend he was not good at being a boyfriend. So my experience with French people is that they're not good at being boyfriends. But the girl was nice. She was my best friend. She was really cool. She was really artistic. She was great at singing. So there's parts of the French I like and the parts that I don't like, which is just the one guy.
And the entire French military legion of late 1800s. I assume you don't like them.
I don't stand, no.
Yeah. Drew?
I can't stand the bechamel slurping culture of those frogs. They
lost a whole country.
They destroyed the continent of Africa, and they've only failed upwards in the experiment of democracy. I have no opinion on the French.
The French people I know are very free-spirited. I don't know of like the hoity-toity French. I went to Paris once, and most of the people there were nice, but otherwise I do think that they are snobby for no reason sometimes, to be honest.
I think France gets a bad rap. I've been to Paris once. I went to Nice once as well as a few other cities in southern France. One city in northwestern France as well. I've been to France more than I thought that I had in the lead up to this episode. France is a fine country, and I think the people there get a bad rap. They're perfectly
They're kind.
fine.
Yeah.
To be clear, I actually love France.
Yeah. Well, this movie's not very kind to the French, I would say.
Well, the French aren't really kind to themselves.
Yeah, it's a very scathing indictment of the French people at this specific time. And I found it to be a very interesting time portrayed in the movie.
This is like a little bit of a stain on French history, I think.
I can imagine. Can you tell us a little bit about that stain?
It's my turn, eh?
Mr. History.
Yeah, tell us about the skid marks of French history.
Well, here we are with yet another biopic, and therefore plenty of work cut out for Drew. I'm going to be frank.
Okay, he's going to be frank.
I'm going to be frank, or should I say
Franco.
Franck.
Okay.
Oh.
You caught into my
Okay,
joke.
you start that over because it was a good one, and I interrupted you.
I'm going to be frank, or should I say Franck?
Boo.
Boo.
Francophilic, perhaps, and say I am not very familiar with Emile Zola. Most of my knowledge of the man comes from the occasional New York Times crossword puzzle hint. It really pays to have a short name like Zola that includes a couple consonants and two common vowels. Just ask Brian Eno, Judge Lance Ito, or singer Rita Ora. Where are all my crossheads at, huh?
Well, I'm right here, Drew. I'm right here, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Sadly, this is a great joke for me.
Yeah, okay, good. No. Emile Zola was a titan of the literary world by the late 19th, early 20th century. Born in 1840, Zola was a French journalist, novelist, and playwright. With his novels and plays, Emile Zola was seen as the foremost practitioner of naturalism. This is a literary school of thought not unlike realism in that it is sort of a rejection of romanticism, instead choosing to depict life as it truly is. What makes naturalism distinct from realism, though, is its injection of the scientific method, somewhat inspired by the works of Darwin and social Darwinism at the time and his theory of evolution at the time. Emile Zola's literary works function as a sort of scientific experiment. Take a particular character with a particular set of traits, set them in a specific environment, and see how they survive. This often results in a bleak conclusion for the characters of Zola's works, both in theater and literature. And for this reason, Zola was somewhat of a controversial writer, and it took some time for the public to truly accept his oeuvre. I'll give you a pretty digestible comparison here. We all know the story of Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. In French literature around Zola's time, Les Mis was seen as the paragon of romanticism. While it is political and has some social commentary, it is ultimately an idealistic view of humanity. And Emile Zola comes around and basically rejects that entire school of thought, depicting life as true to nature as he possibly can, hence the school of naturalism.
It's like a Spielberg versus Sean Baker kind of thing.
Sure, yeah. It's not yes.
Yeah.
Now, as a journalist, which we see a little bit more in this movie, Emile Zola was known as a muckraker. Muckraking was a style of journalism that exploded in the late 19th century, both in America and France. It is reform-minded journalism, aimed at exposing corruption, social injustice, monopolies, etc., and is intent on political reform. The most notorious example of this in Emile Zola's life would be his Accuse article, which was an open letter to the president of France in response to the Dreyfus affair. We'll get into it a little more later, but the Dreyfus affair, for those unaware, was an instance in which Alfred Dreyfus, a French army general staff officer with Jewish heritage, was wrongly accused of espionage, falsely tried, and sentenced to a penal colony in French Guyana. Emile Zola's J'accuse article helped bring to light the truth that the sentencing of Alfred Dreyfus was ultimately a cover-up. This was seen as a major stain on the French military and is since considered a flashpoint of anti-Semitism. Such was common of Emile Zola's journalistic work. He exposed the dark underbelly of French society, pushing for its liberalization. Late in his life, Zola was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Literature, both in 1901 and 1902. However, in 1902, still hard at work as a writer, Emile Zola died of carbon monoxide poisoning in his home. His remains can be found at his final resting place, the Pantheon in Paris.
Why are you reheating my nachos? You're not even reheating them. You're just thawing them.
The nachos are soggy from all the
He
reheating.
he left the nachos on the balcony to heat up.
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with you?
But that is at least some context on Emile Zola.
It's interesting you mentioned the anti-Semitism thing. That's a really cool angle. I wonder if the movie explores that or not.
We'll find out if it touches on it at all.
We've got thoughts.
But there's a lot that we'll get into with the plot of the movie.
Definitely. Before we get into the plot of the movie, there are people in this movie.
Yeah.
We'd like to learn about them.
Merci. La vie d'Emile Zola a été conçue en 1936 par l'agent littéraire Heinz Herold, mais dès le départ, il ne s'agit pas simplement d'un biopic classique. C'était une histoire structurée autour de l'affaire Dreyfus. Présentant Zola comme une figure politique plutôt que comme un simple écrivain. Le scénario a délibérément reconfiguré sa vie pour tendre vers une idée centrale, la responsabilité de dire la vérité face au pouvoir. Okay. So, the life
Me
of
too.
Emile.
Congratulations on your Duolingo streak.
Okay. Anyway, The Life of Emile Zola was conceived in 1936 by literary agent Heinz Herold. But from the beginning, it wasn't just a straightforward biopic, as I was saying in French. It was a story shaped around the Dreyfus affair, positioning Zola as a political figure rather than simply a writer. The script deliberately reframed his life to build toward a single idea, the responsibility, or as I said in French, responsabilité, of speaking truth to power. I'm making myself cringe. Behind the scenes, the film was marked by constant conflict. Producer Henry Blanc pushed for historical accuracy and moral seriousness, while executive producer Hal B. Wallace wanted to replicate the safer, more commercial formula of the story of Louis Pasteur. Their clashes extended into casting, structure, and even how recognizable Paul Muni should look on screen, highlighting the broader tension between prestige filmmaking and box office strategy.
You know, that brings up an interesting thing. When we finished the movie, Alexis was looking at IMDb at the poster, and she's like, Who is
this guy?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the poster, it's just a giant picture of Paul Muni, the actor.
Yes.
But it's a picture of Paul Muni. It is not a picture of Paul Muni as Emile Zola.
It would be like taking a Getty Images from like the Vanity Fair after party of Austin Butler and just posting that instead of him looking like Elvis.
But even worse, because he literally has a beard the entire movie.
He's completely
like, he's
unrecognizable.
never unshaven the entire movie and in that promotional picture.
Yeah, so speaking of the beard, Muni himself added another layer of control to the film. He insisted on physical authenticity, so he refused to rely solely on makeup and grew his own beard for the role, forcing production to shoot the film in reverse order. It is a small detail, but it reflects the larger approach to the film.
Oh.
Okay, diva.
I know, it's like, okay. But the film's biggest contradiction lies in its handling of the Dreyfus affair. While it presents itself as a bold story about injustice and government corruption, it notably avoids directly addressing the central issue of anti-Semitism. Despite Dreyfus being a Jewish officer targeted in part because of his identity, this omission reflects the broader caution of 1930s Hollywood, which often softened or avoided politically sensitive material, especially anything that might provoke international backlash. Even so, the film was received as powerful and timely, with many audiences interpreting it as an indirect critique of the rising fascism in Europe.
With marketing this movie, they were strangely very worried about upsetting the German audience. They're still kind of playing it safe with the Nazis at this point in time.
Okay, I'm going to get into the cast and crew now. Let's start off with director William Dieterle. William Dieterle was a German-born director who brought a strong European theater-trained sensibility to Hollywood filmmaking. He began his career as a stage actor in Germany under influential director Max Reinhardt before transitioning into film acting and eventually directing, an evolution that gave him a deep understanding of both performance and visual storytelling. By the mid-1930s, Dieterle became one of Warner Brothers' most trusted directors, particularly for helming prestigious historical biopics. He directed a series of major films starring Paul Muni, including The Story of Louis Pasteur, The Life of Emile Zola, and Juarez, helping define the genre as serious, politically minded cinema. Once this film won the Academy Award for Best Picture, it cemented Dieterle's place in Hollywood at the time. Stylistically, Dieterle blended German expressionist influence with Hollywood storytelling, often using dramatic lighting, rich compositions, and a sense of a lot of moral weight. His films frequently carried political undertones, reflecting his anti-fascist beliefs and interests in social issues. At the same time, he had a strong romantic streak as a filmmaker, especially in later works where he leaned into atmosphere, emotion, and almost dreamlike storytelling. This combination, political seriousness and romantic visual style, made his work feel both weighted and stylized. Dieterle was also known for his distinctive presence on set, famously wearing white gloves and a large hat, and for being a director who prioritized artistic ambition over fame. Despite major success in the 1930s, his career declined in the 1950s during the McCarthy era when his political associations made it harder for him to find work. Overall, Dieterle was known as a craft-driven, visually expressive director of prestige biopics and romantic dramas, combining European theatrical roots with Hollywood scale and helping elevate historical storytelling into a serious cinematic form. Yay!
Very nice.
Let's talk about Paul Muni. He plays Emile Zola in this film. Paul Muni, born Frederick Mechilem Meyer Weisenfront.
Wow.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. That's 4 names. Paul Muni was one of the most intense and well-respected actors of 1930s Hollywood, known less for movie star charm and more for his total transformation. He was originally trained on the Yiddish stage. He brought a deep theatrical discipline to film, combining a powerful voice, precise physical control, and extraordinary skill with makeup to completely disappear into his roles. Muni became famous for portraying real-life figures, especially in prestige biopics like The Story of Louis Pasteur, like I just mentioned, for which he won the Academy Award, and The Life of Emile Zola. He approached each role like a full reconstruction, studying mannerisms, speech patterns, and historical detail obsessively. He was known in the industry as a serious, almost obsessive actor, someone who chose roles carefully and demanded creative control. At Warner Bros., he was considered so prestigious that he was given the rare ability to select his own projects. Stylistically, Muni sat in an interesting place. He was part theatrical, part proto-method, as I was kind of alluding to earlier. His performances felt larger than life, even sometimes people would say showy by modern standards. Some critics later called his style overacting, while others saw it as bold, transformative, and ahead of its time. But ultimately, Muni was known as a character actor in a leading man's position, a performer who disappeared into roles rather than building a consistent screen persona. His legacy is very much tied to that intensity, a craftsman who helped define prestige biopic as a serious cinematic form. Paul Muni is buried at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Los Angeles, California. Nice. He is located in the Plains of Abram section, formerly Section 14, Row 00, Grave 57.
He sounds like the opposite of Clark Gable.
100%.
Which I think is a very interesting dichotomy. That more method, very serious actor, not at all interested in being a star. Like, this man just wants to act.
Yeah.
And he was often quoted talking about actors. He wouldn't mention names, but he would say that...
Shady.
You're saying, like, oh, if you want to be famous, you're not an actor. Which, I mean, people say that today anyway. If you're a star, if you're like a famous star, you're not an actor.
Oh, a thespian.
He's a real
He's
thespian.
a thespian.
Unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I only have one more actor. It's the guy who plays Alfred Dreyfus.
That makes sense. I mean, there's like not a ton of other relevant actors in this movie.
Yeah.
And this will be short. So Joseph Schildkraut plays Alfred Dreyfus. Schildkraut was an Austrian-American actor with deep roots also in the Yiddish and European theater tradition. Overall, he was known as a classically trained Yiddish-rooted actor who moved seamlessly from leading man to character actor, bringing intelligence, control, and emotional weight to both villains and deeply sympathetic figures. He was the son of a prominent Yiddish stage actor. He trained also under renowned director Max Reinhardt, similarly to the director of this film, and built his early career on the stages of Germany, Austria, and New York before transitioning to Hollywood. He first rose to prominence as a romantic leading man, a matinee idol type, but over time evolved into a distinctive character actor. He became especially known for playing these smooth, intelligent, cunning figures, frequently portraying polished villains or morally ambiguous characters with a calm, deliberate presence. His Oscar-winning role as Captain Alfred Dreyfus in The Life of Emile Zola showcased a different side of his work, one rooted in restraint and gravity, highlighting his ability to convey dignity and quiet suffering rather than overt dramatics as he was used to. Later in his career, he became closely associated with more humanistic roles, most notably Otto Frank in The Diary of Anne Frank, 1959. And that's a wrap on Congram.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, great. We can get into speaking about the plot of the movie. It starts off with a great disclaimer. Very legal disclaimer.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so, I guess. They must have been like edgy about this one because like what you are about to see is not meant to truly portray any similarities to people who may have existed.
Well, it exemplifies too the touchiness that I think a lot of the executives and the creatives felt with other social and political forces at the time.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a running theme with this episode.
Totally. But it starts, and the movie is split into very distinct acts, I would say. The first is about Emile Zola himself, his rise in his career, then an arc that focuses very heavily on the Dreyfus case in particular. Then it goes into Emile Zola's interaction with the Dreyfus case.
Yeah.
I would say that is like the overall arc of the movie. The first one, of course, is Emile Zola himself. It starts similarly to The Great Ziegfeld, where it's not birth to death. It is at the start of his career, and it starts off with a little bit of a pastiche of him as a struggling artist living with Paul Cézanne, a famous French artist known for, do you know, in famous
Impressionist.
Works? Yeah. Impressionist.
Yeah.
That was historically accurate. He did live with Paul Cézanne.
They were like good friends, I think.
It's like Ryan Coogler and Ludwig van, what's his name?
Göransson.
Yeah.
Ludwig Göransson, yeah.
I think I mostly recognize Cézanne from his basket of apples.
I'd know those basket of apples anywhere.
I think he has a lot of stuff at the Barnes Foundation in Philadelphia. A handful of stuff.
Well, he's really poor. They're living in a crappy attic apartment. He's always like, shut the windows. I don't want to have a draft. He just complains about that all the time.
Roommates, am I right?
I bet Cezanne never did the dishes.
Too busy using them for his still lives. He was
True.
Yeah.
He's like, no, don't touch those apples. I'm working on that. Yeah. But I'm hungry, Paul. Not until I'm done.
Then Zola's mother and girlfriend show up with a job offer in hand. Emile, you get to work at a publishing house. Great. And Emile's first thing is like, are they going to make me work? Are they going to let me write? Like, you have to get a job, Emile. So he does. He goes to work for the publisher, but he continues to be a muckraker. And that was mostly criticisms of the military or other cultural things, as Drew sort of alluded to. He was big into this idea of social justice. Mm-hmm. And as Sarah said, speaking truth to power. His employer gives him an ultimatum and is like, you can still work for me, but you got to stop doing that, or at the very least do it less. And Emile's like, I quit. I will not be compromising anything like that. Then there's a sequence where he just witnesses a bunch of injustice. There's homeless people, corruption, cover-ups, tries to write about all of them, really gains no traction. He finds his big break when he meets a mysterious woman. He's sitting in a cafe and she runs in being pursued by the authorities. And her name is Nana. She seems kind of sick, or at least very tired. And he steals her diary and reads through it and is like, oh, this is heat. And then he writes a novel about it.
He's honestly such a relatable person.
He's like, damn, girl, your story is sad as...
He like doesn't want to go to work. Yeah. He's like really into other people's business.
Totally. But he writes a best-selling novel out of it. Also, I thought in that scene she died.
I thought she died too.
I was like, she died and he's just gonna steal her diary and write her story. I was like, that's crazy. She actually did survive.
Wait, would you guys read someone's diary if like someone close to you died? Would you read their diary?
Yeah, of course.
Maybe.
Okay.
Depends on how juicy I would think it would be. No, I would totally do that.
It sounds nice until you read like the one wrong thing and then you're like,
something about you.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard of a lot of things happening from people reading their partner's diaries and things like that. Like,
after they died?
No, like even alive or whatever.
Oh, not alive.
No living person.
No living person gets to look in my diary. But when I'm dead, go for it. Yeah. I give you guys permission.
Thank you. You put that in your will.
Yes, you're not going to like what's in there, but go ahead.
About this era of your life specifically. Yes. My annoying friend Adam begged me to be in this podcast.
I fucking hate him. I'm gonna run away. I'm so upset.
So he adapts her diary into a story. It becomes what I assume is either, I don't know if it's a smutty novel, but it was very, I think, jarring and real.
I want to read it so bad.
Yeah, it seemed like Nana was maybe a prostitute or
something.
Well, yeah,
that is typical with Zola's stuff. It sort of like exposed a seedier sort of part of French society that was largely not depicted in literature at the time.
Like smut is like kind of the wrong way of thinking of it. It's not like meant to be titillating. It's meant to be more things that you wouldn't talk about in polite society.
It's more about like, hey, we're depicting this person's life, warts and all, because it's not like prostitutes and people of lower economical backgrounds weren't depicted in media. Example of Les Mis, you're still depicting like different classes of people, but they're...
Yeah, but she was punished for her prostitution by dying.
Exactly, but they're used in a romantic way where
it's giving Dixie Lee.
They're used in a romantic way where it's like they're part of a greater plot that depicts some sort of idealism by the end versus this is this person's life, whether you like it or not, every little piece of it that I can possibly share.
There's a great little scene where they're in a bookshop and fancy couple comes in. There's a ton of Nana on the shelves of this French Barnes and Noble, and the woman is interested in buying a book, and her husband like slaps her hand. It's like, no, you can't read that. Which is why I kind of thought, oh, is this smutty? And then as she's running out, she goes to like the bookseller and is like, send the book to my address.
Yeah, loved her for that. But watching this movie did make me want to read his books.
Yeah,
it's very interesting. Which I don't know. Maybe that's what they wanted.
Maybe that's the point. Yeah, they get royalties.
Yeah, they got me. They really got my ass.
Well, he got France's ass with that book because the next scene is him going to his publisher and be like, "Hey man, can you give me a few bucks, please? I just need a few francs. Anything you can give me, I really don't care." And then his publisher gives him a letter and a check for 18,000 francs, which is a lot of francs between. What the AI summary that Alexa showed me on Google was, it was anywhere from between $100,000 and $250,000 today, which is a very wide range. I didn't find it to be that helpful, but a lot of money. And then he still asks, "Hey, can you give me some cash?"
A starving artist, yeah.
For sure. But he begets a ton of success off of this. And he continues to do kind of the same thing. The writing books in this similar angle. The Franco-Prussian War happens. Mm-hmm. Here is where France gets absolutely clapped by the Prussians. And Zola, he's very mad at the government for getting the country into this, so he publishes a novel critical of the military called The Downfall, and this is what really gets the military on red alert about him as an author, at least in the movie. I don't know if there was other context in real life where the military was more closely watching his writings. Because of this, in the military backlash, his publisher tries to censor him, but Zola just truly does not care, and he keeps just publishing the books. There's a really fun, tiny little montage where it shows all of his books, and they're coming in on like some sort of like sliding mechanism where they're just all shuffling onto the screen and pushing each other back, just to show the breadth of all of the novels that he created. I thought that was very clever.
I hated that.
I thought it was cute.
It was like in any biopic about a musician where they just start like playing their songs and like showing the title. It was just like, ugh. It was very.
I thought it was kind of fun.
It was cute, but it was just sort of like, I don't know. It felt very like, hey, remember this? Remember this one? Remember that one?
Yeah, but the thing is, I think it actually works better in this context, knowing nothing about Emile Zola, because it shows me...
Back then, people would have known.
That's fair. That's a good point. To me, I think it's cool, because I know nothing of his work, and I saw those books, and I was thinking, I wonder what those are all about. Clearly, he was a very prolific writer.
One thing about the Prussian War...
Yeah.
That is going to come up is, the French basically get clobbered going to war against the Prussians at this time, and why this is such a big deal is it effectively leads to the unification of the German state and basically the creation of that new superpower at the time. It was incredibly embarrassing for France at the time, and they even lost the territory known as Alsace, which, what is very interesting is Alfred Dreyfus is an Alsatian Frenchman. Oh, he is from Alsace, which then adds a little bit to the scandal of it all. He is from the territory that was then turned over to the Germans. This was seen as a big embarrassment that they had turned this over. This territory is now part of France. It's like that sort of upper, I would say it's like that northeast corner that juts into Germany.
It's like Netherlands, Germany, all that kind of area.
Yeah, right below like Luxembourg and all. But anyways, this all sort of ties into the whole Dreyfus affair down the line.
Yeah, that makes sense. Before we get into the Dreyfus affair, there is one last scene that's really focusing on Zola and his life, and it's tying things back with his relationship with Paul Cézanne. I love this scene. I thought it was very funny in the way that it is structured. It's just a cut to him. Like, you see all of his novels. That is another reason I actually like this scene, because I think it sets up like, he was so prolific. He was obviously very famous. And it cuts to him fat and happy, living in his mansion. His life is upgraded to a degree that's befitting all of the work and the novel and the fame that he's done. He's just chilling. He's having Paul over for dinner, and Paul takes the time to sit him down and call his ass out. He's like, brother, you have sold out. Well, he starts it by saying, I'm leaving town. I'm leaving Paris. I'm going out to the countryside. And his justification is, I'm leaving because I'm so embarrassed to be near you because you've sold out so hard.
We all need a friend like that.
Literally.
Like, we genuinely all need someone in our life to tell us that.
He basically looked him in the eye and said, I have zero respect for you. Well, and I think it's funny, and there are a broad range of opinions you can have on this like specific point, but I think it's very interesting what Cézanne said is an artist should remain poor.
That made me think. I was thinking after he said that was a thinker.
There are people that definitely have
people
that
do
mindset.
think that, yeah,
and
for sure. It's a nuanced topic. And
this was another thing too that felt very like standard boilerplate biopic, is you gotta have the old friend that tells you you've flown too close to the sun, I don't respect you anymore, gets in the main character's head. It just happens all the time.
Okay, but think about it. This is like the first biopic, so they didn't.
This is not the first. We just did a biopic last episode.
Okay, take a deep breath.
The biopic is a tales all the time, and it's like there's nothing wrong with it.
This is the second. Okay, then this is the second biopic, and every other biopic has been copying this.
I don't. That's
there
not
were definitely
necessarily
biopics before this.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
just
like
this is
to be
Which
fair,
ones?
this is the
name
10.
them. Name five of their name five
the
of your
Louis
favorite.
Pasteur movie you just talked about.
Name five of their best songs. Name five of the
It's
best.
just very boilerplate, and it's funny that that structure has maintained itself, and it is.
Yeah.
It's part of the journey that every biopic seems to depict, and it's just like, okay, we get it. I don't know. It just happens all the time.
So after Paul Cézanne looks him in the face and says, "Brother, I'm leaving town because I hate you so much right now." We then cut to, not an interlude, but we kind of put Emile Zola to the side to focus on the Dreyfus affair specifically. And so this is really setting it up. They tell you exactly what's happening. They show the office of the man who actually commits the treason inherent in the Dreyfus affair. They show his nameplate, Mr. General Esterhazy.
So at this time, if I might interrupt.
Yeah, of course.
At this time, again, based off of that whole conflict with the Prussians/Germans and the fear of the growing German state, which was more economically and militarily powerful than France at the time, France was sort of beefing up its military weapons at the time, specifically its guns at the time. And this was specifically, I believe, information about like the schematics and the details of the new weapon that was being constructed at the time.
These are our advancements that we are creating, proprietary knowledge.
Exactly, which will lead to why Dreyfus becomes the scapegoat as well. Why it's specifically these details.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm very curious to hear about that because they do gloss over it a little in this. But
they gloss over a lot.
Yeah. But first, he takes the letter to the German embassy. Yeah. It hands it to the butler and says, "Hey, just give it to the guy," which I think is so ridiculous. I mean,
well, apparently that's not really what happens.
Of course, it's not really what happened. If that is really what happened, then like history is stupider than
they do a really weird thing where they show like the letter being put in the mailbox because the ambassador's not there, but then a disembodied hand reaches out and grabs it, which realistically what happened I think was a maid found the letter in the trash and she was working as a French spy at the German embassy. And
that makes so much more sense. I understand why you do this for
then it gets taken to the French authorities.
Yeah, I understand why you do it for the sake of just like that's a few more steps that you would have to show, I guess. But
it was so corny. Just
it was pretty corny.
It like just makes you wonder. Well, okay, how did this actually who is this guy? Is there a reason why it's so mysterious? It's just like
totally. Yeah. But the letter ends up in the hands of the French authorities. They're like, this is bad that this was going to be sent to this German general via the German ambassador. Yeah. So they have to really witch hunt someone.
Well, they really don't know who to blame.
Yeah.
They literally are just looking for a scapegoat.
No, they don't want to be embarrassed. Well, they're like, it has to be from this pool of people who work in this department because they're the only people who have information about this specific knowledge that's being shared out. Let's run through the list of the names and decide who we think sounds the most treasonous.
Well, and so they go through the list and they find specifically a gunner, which Dreyfus was.
Oh,
and
okay.
It also helps that he is one of the few, if not the only but most of the people in the military at this time were Catholic aristocracy. And he has a very Jewish and German sounding name. He is also from Alsace, which is the territory that has since been ceded to Germany. And they really just go off the hunch of they're pretty explicit about we just can't name one of the Catholic aristocracy because that's us. That's really what the divide becomes, is the Catholic aristocracy in the French military versus someone like Dreyfus, who wasn't part of that aristocracy and worked his way up, seems more treasonous.
If this sounds really interesting, know that it is not explained in this level of detail in the movie. They just sort of pick names from a hat and it's like, it's him.
Yeah. Which is kind of actually how they went about it, but you don't see the maliciousness of it, where it's like they explicitly seek out the Jewish guy. And they point fingers at him.
But yeah, it's not like they were all just sitting in a cabal going yeah, we must choose this man.
It's a little bit like that, but
maybe it was, I guess.
The thing is, they just didn't want to embarrass themselves because the French military had already been kind of humiliated. And it's really just a matter of, this whole thing is just
the whole thing. I actually really did think I liked that angle of the movie. But it cuts to, of course, they're like, we're going after this Dreyfus guy. Of course, it cuts to the next scene is him playing with his children and being a good dad.
I know.
Really toying with our emotions here, a little heavy-handed.
And the kids dress up in the war general costume.
Daddy, I'm gonna be just like you.
Yeah.
And the girl had a bow the size of her head.
Adorable.
So cute.
Your
so
dad's
cute.
about to get fucked.
Like, he was about to get yeeted out of this country. That he's summoned to have an inspection the next day at 0900 in civilian clothes, which is a red flag.
Okay, I loved that they were like, give me my civilian suit, like, every other 5 seconds. Because, like, now I want to start calling my own clothes, like, my civilian. Like, my grout fit, like, my leggings and my hoodie. I'm like, give me my civilian suit. Yeah, I'm out in my civilian suit today.
That's funny. But yeah, he does show up in his civilian suit. Not a grout fit. That would be hype, though.
That would be.
He shows up in the Nike tech, the Maduro Nike tech.
But yeah, he shows up in his Yeezys and he's arrested for treason. They even, this is probably playing into the honor thing, they even just lay a gun on the table and they're like,
You can kill yourself.
like, do whatever you want, man.
That was crazy.
I know.
Well, if the intention there is like, yeah, just give him the option to kill himself.
Totally.
If he does, that's admitting the guilt.
Right. And also, like, save yourself the dishonor of going through.
What would you guys do?
Wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I think I'd stand my ground.
What if you were guilty?
I was guilty, and I probably still wouldn't do it. If I was guilty, then I'm probably crazy enough to not do it.
Okay, interesting.
I think guilty, I'd do it.
Yeah.
I would also do it if I was guilty.
No, that's what they'll do. It's the cyanide capsule.
You got me.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, he's found guilty. Oops. For really not good reason in any way. They just kind of say, you're guilty.
So in the movie, they do this thing where they have him write something down.
Okay.
And then...
Oh, yeah.
And then
they have him, they're dictating, like, him to write a letter.
Yeah,
and
that
like,
effectively is
doing?
like something to the effect of like, hey, I'm going to send you specifics about, French, gunnery or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they claim like, oh, you did it. Whereas it's even stupider in real life. They
Great.
they compare his handwriting to the handwriting of the letter.
Okay.
And they say...
And it's clearly, like, not similar at all.
So it's obviously not. They look at it and they go, this is not similar at all.
Right.
And their argument when they try him when they accuse him is, this doesn't match, which is exactly what you would try to do if you didn't want to be...
Oh my gosh. Stop it.
There you go. If you wanted to look
Right.
innocent, you would fake your handwriting to not look like yours.
The French are so dumb.
Which is so funny. It is truly, truly funny.
Which it's unknown whether they knew if like this was actually Esterhazy at the time, because they maybe could have compared the handwriting and seen it was the same, and maybe they were like, well, you would obviously try to look like Esterhazy if you didn't want to. But
Yeah.
it's really unknown. But they really, really just like find the thinnest of excuse to.
It's really not even an excuse. They're just like, you are guilty
This
because
is
we say you are.
the definition of a scapegoat here.
But this is very confusing because it's like, why didn't they just gather everybody and do a process where they got everybody's handwriting
Because they didn't
without
want
telling
to.
them, without telling them why?
To Drew's point, they specifically didn't want to find the right person who did this. They wanted
because
to
it would
find...
make France look bad.
It's easier for for the public to stomach that there's essentially a race traitor.
Well, yes. And,
rather than someone who's actually truly betraying their country.
and to be honest, at this time, nationalism is like really in full swing.
And I think they do an excellent job of portraying that in the film.
Yeah,
The
and-
masses are unwashed and crazy.
the scapegoat across a lot of Europe is this invasion, quote unquote, of Jewish people. And they are, in many other cases, but this is the paragon of, those Jews, like, they're basically arguments like, that's just what Jews do. It's like, they're traitors. I won't go on. I don't want to be quoted on any of this.
This was a huge deal at the time. As portrayed in the movie, there are people marching in the street chanting with effigies of Dreyfus, being like, hang him, hang him. They don't hang him, but his punishment is deportation and humiliation via a public parade. And he screams at all of the press who is gathered there saying, I'm innocent. I'm innocent.
Which allegedly that part is true. The whole dressing down, like removing of his medals and his buttons
There
and
was
like
so
all of that was
much
apparently...
pageantry in that. I was like, well, this is just performative.
That's what it is.
It's just giving red meat to these crazy people. Was this a time of high unemployment and high social unrest in France? Because there was just a lot of people that I was thinking they gotta have had better things to do with their lives.
Well, France had been pretty turbulent, especially in the 19th century, where I think over the course of this movie, they don't really depict it too much, but this is where they transition, I believe, from the Second Empire into the Third Republic. So there's a lot of political turmoil around this time. Obviously, a lot of conflict. You've got this Franco-Prussian War, etc. It is not the most easygoing at times, especially for France.
Totally. Dreyfus is sent to Devil's Island in the South Atlantic by French Guiana. It's, from how they depict it in the movie, is just a single shack on an island
Basically
patrolled by
impenetrable.
like 7 guards, which is a horrible use of resources.
Yeah.
Like, this is wild. You should not be having this many people.
Yeah. Well, he was the sole prisoner on this island.
Exactly, which is, again, a horrible use of an island, to be honest. But during his declaration of innocence, Emile Zola is threading him back into the story. His friends see this declaration. They're like, oh, man, this is kind of messed up, isn't it? And they go to dinner at Zola's place, and they try to get him to care. Because he historically had cared a lot about injustice. And so they're like, hey, man, you got to get back on the horse. Don't you care about this? Which I read very peripherally that is a gross misrepresentation of what actually happened. They portray him in the movie as being like that guy who's like, bro, don't talk politics with me.
Yeah.
He's like, both sides are bad, man.
Yeah. There is some smoothing over of how this
Yeah.
all actually goes down, where realistically, the Dreyfus affair was kept under wraps until journalists who believe exposed it, but they exposed it in a way of like, look at what's been going on. They found this Jew and they haven't told us about it. Like, they found this traitorous Jew. And so that's how it first came to light.
Self-burn.
And they also smooth over a lot of the details where, for example, Dreyfus is brought back and tried and found guilty first, but like you don't see that. Like, he's at Devil's Island for a while, but then brought back.
Oh.
They smooth over a lot of the details and try to make it
Gotcha.
very, very clear cut.
I can see why that would have been smoothed over. I think that could be confusing if you're there like, oh, we're
Yeah.
bringing him back. That
Yeah.
just toning some details down. But I think like depicting Emile Zola as very apolitical in this time. I didn't know how accurate that was necessarily. But he is persuaded by Madame Dreyfus, comes to beg him for help. There has been proof that has come to light. Another general, Picard.
Yeah. So he's like the new intelligence officer, basically. That's been brought in, and he's looking through the details of all this and is sort of going, something's fishy here. And
Yeah, they find another note that's could be used as evidence against the people who accuse Dreyfus, essentially. And that evidence starts floating around. Again, Madame Dreyfus, she brings the knowledge of this evidence to Zola himself to persuade him to, again, get back in the saddle and take up for the case, which he does. He goes to essentially Dreyfus headquarters, it seems, and he writes an impassioned letter, which is the J'accuse article, which I was very disappointed
Was
in
it
the
I
movie.
accuse?
I
Yeah,
know.
they
I was like,
Yeah.
that's so fucking lame.
I know.
accuse. J'accuse is so much.
J'accuse.
That's so much cooler.
It's maybe the most famous French headline, maybe one of the most famous headlines ever, and they depict it in the lame English way.
And
I accuse.
Yeah.
it
I
doesn't
accuse.
hit. It doesn't hit in the
J'accuse.
same way.
Yeah.
Which this article is basically an open letter, takes up the full front page of the newspaper at the time.
And he dictate. I wonder if he's just dictating the actual contents of the IAQ's letter in monologue form.
I think that's what they did.
The whole thing is Muni is just monologuing. He's great at it.
Monomogging.
Yeah, he's definitely monomaxing.
Yeah.
One would say. But this monologue's really good.
Yeah.
I think that.
It might, I could be wrong, it could just be a direct rip from the article.
Totally.
Because it is.
He still delivers it well.
It is an open letter specifically to the president of France at the time, but then
Right.
it also goes through and it names names about
Yes.
like who he is accusing of and of what. And I think in the article, the actual article, it's pretty clear that he's stating like this was anti-Semitic. You accused him just because he's Jewish.
For sure.
Which
Again, they took
they
that
don't
out
get
for the
to in
movie.
here.
Yeah. Because I think it was clear then that Zola knew the anti-Semitism angle, and that was a big part of his involvement in the trial. And yeah, the movie's not interested in covering that for a variety of reasons. But then we cut to Drew's favorite part of the movie, which is, of course, the courtroom scene. Which I know you have your problems with courtroom scenes. I think this is a very well done.
No, this one's cool because it's their old French style courtrooms where they have people at the back and they're allowed to go like, oh,
Yeah.
It's like an episode of Wildin' Out.
Totally. It was like Maury.
Yeah.
Judge Judy.
Yeah, literally. It felt like,
Judge Judyification of the French military tribunal.
They literally at one point have to like get the audience out of there because they're like
We're about to talk about sensitive stuff.
Yeah.
The sensitive
Which
stuff
that's
was
when I tuned
so
out.
funny. But I actually loved how they set up that space. I think from a production standpoint, super impressed. The way they did all of the big crowds in the space, I thought it looked really, really cool. I thought it was great.
I'll give it a pass.
Yeah. So none of the military men, it's kind of funny at the start of this, none of the military men are willing to testify. They're like, well, we try to call the Secretary of War to the stand. It's like, regretfully, the Secretary of War is unable to make it. Okay, then we'll call for his second general. It's like, regretfully.
They're very slimy about it. Because, well, effectively, this trial isn't about Dreyfus. This trial is about Zola's treasonous behavior.
Yes, because he writes the Accuse, which is to be considered libelous.
Yeah.
Libel being falsehoods in printed form.
Yeah.
So what is on trial is his libel, and they tried to get around that by saying Dreyfus is guilty. He has been found guilty by the court. We are not relitigating anything in the Dreyfus affair in this trial. It is purely simply about Emile Zola and the contents of the letter that he wrote. However,
which Zola's lawyer is basically arguing you can't talk about this
without
talking about the Dreyfus affair.
Right. So they hem and haw about this for a while before finally saying. And clearly they're just like probably talking in the background about like, oh, how are we gonna get out of this? And they come up with the worst idea of all time I think I've ever seen. They're like, all right, we can talk about Dreyfus, but we got to get everyone out of the room first because this is about state secrets.
Yeah.
And then they're like, there is a note. We can't show it to you, but I promise it's really bad. And it says he's guilty.
Yeah.
It's like the fourth letter like literally says don't tell anyone. Like this is a top secret what I'm going to tell you, which is exactly what you would not write if you were actually committing treason. So it's kind of bumbling incompetence, which I found very funny. But they say there's a super secret note. She goes to another school in Canada. You don't know her. You're never going to meet her. Picard, who's, again, this intelligence officer who's more sympathetic to the cause, he alleges that it's a forgery. Zola then gives another impassioned monologue in the courtroom. He is found guilty of libel because he could have said anything and they wouldn't have cared. They would have still said that he was libeling regardless. He's sentenced to a year in prison, 3,000 franc fine. He then leaves to go to London. And then there's a very quick falling action for the movie where it really resolves everything fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Essentially, the note is found to be a forgery. They get inalienable proof from people who admit it. They bring people in. They admit that it was a forgery. Everyone is forced to resign. Picard is exonerated. Dreyfus is released. He was in prison for 5 years.
They've got the one scene where he's in the prison and he's been given like a book of Emile Zola's, I think.
Yes,
the book Paris by Emile Zola. He picks it up and it's like half eaten by ants.
I didn't really understand why they needed that. Also, like, why would there be ants all over?
It was like visual storytelling, like, oh,
right.
Paris has got holes in it now.
Exactly,
yeah.
Literally.
I just think it was funny because thinking of the PA's like, all right, now dump the jar of bugs on the book. We got to get the shot.
Yeah.
I will say, I was on the edge of my seat during this film because I've never heard of any of these people.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really excited about it, but I was disappointed that they focused so much on Alfred Dreyfus because it kind of spoiled like his story for me. I would rather watch like the Dreyfus Affair movie, but then I just got this version.
I do feel that there's a more interesting movie.
Yeah.
But that focuses just on the Dreyfus Affair and uses Emile Zola as like a side character.
For sure.
I think that is a more effective version of this story, for sure.
We'll talk about it.
But again, the falling action is fairly quick here. Dreyfus is released. He looks crazy in a good way. I thought the makeup was great. Zola, he's still writing. His final book is Justice. He comes home from England to France.
I don't think he actually finishes that book.
No, he canonically doesn't finish it in the movie either because he is writing the book Justice where he's writing late. His wife shuts the door to his study and they just have like a zoom in on the fireplace, which is leaking smoke.
Carbon monoxide.
Yeah, and he dies of carbon monoxide poisoning, which was canonical.
Yeah,
and
that part's true.
Yeah, which I thought was crazy. And again, it really, because the whole time I was thinking, well, he's really complaining about leaving windows open and catching a draft. Is he just going to die of a cold at the end of this? And then he dies because he didn't have a draft to get the smoke out of his room. Which is a very tragic way for him to die.
It was really tragic.
Yeah, I thought compared to Ziegfeld, where he sits in a chair and goes, what? This was,
One last act for Ziegfeld.
Yes. I thought this was a very classy and well done death scene. As far as death scenes go, there are a lot of bad death scenes.
Totally, yeah.
I think it's nice when one nails it as much as you really can for this sort of thing.
Yeah, they just sort of show the pen stops writing. And then...
Yeah. And then there's a big funeral scene, which again looks great. And Dreyfus was there. One interesting thing that Lex was saying when she was looking, she does my research for me.
Not your wife being your secretary,
Oh, don't say it
Adam.
like that.
Oh, you said it. You said it like that.
No, she was sitting on the couch. She was like, oh, she's telling me this interesting stuff, which is great.
Uh-huh.
She said that Dreyfus was invited to the funeral specifically. He wasn't going to go, but it was kind of requested, which is a nice gesture. There was also a historical event where they moved his remains, and there was a ceremony there. Dreyfus went to that, and there was an assassination attempt on Dreyfus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
At this other Emile Zola related event that happened.
Well, I mean, this sort of event really does split French society in two. Literally, historically, they're referred to as the Dreyfusards and the anti-Dreyfusards. The Dreyfusards being like Emile Zola and people of his ilk, the more liberal, socialist part of French society, versus the anti-Dreyfusards, which I'm sure continued to exist for a few decades, were largely the Catholic aristocracy. And yeah, it doesn't surprise me they still tried to, there were people who still thought he was guilty and wanted to take an attempt on his life.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are still anti-Dreyfus.
To this day.
I bet you can find some kind of
Guys
Reddit.
like, that Dreyfus.
I can't believe
They let
it.
him off the hook.
Yeah.
I hate The Life of Emile Zola, my least favorite movie.
It's kind of too messy to depict in a movie like this. They really do it as cleanly as possible. But in reality, Dreyfus is brought back, pardoned. He's offered a pardon.
Okay.
But the thing is, when you're pardoned, you are admitting to guilt.
Oh, right.
So he is offered a pardon, and then years later, he is exonerated, reinstated into the military, and actually he serves during World War I for France.
Wow.
Which is crazy considering how poorly the military treated him.
Totally.
But he rises up the ranks a little bit and serves through the entirety of World War I.
That's kind of depressing in a way.
Yeah. Well, he probably still felt some obligation to his job, and it's very interesting that he chose to actually remain with the military, though, and didn't feel scorned in all of this.
I totally agree. A bigger man than I am, for sure.
Especially when people are still trying to kill him.
Yeah. I would leave the country. I would find a new place to live.
It's actually a little surprising. There's probably some interesting stuff there where it's like, if he left the country, it's almost like admitting guilt.
True.
And adds to the issue of like, or adds to the concern of like, oh, those Jews, they're not loyal to France.
Fair.
I would say, because I feel like that's like the biggest move to make, to show them, fuck you, I'm still here.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more history here that I can go into a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Just so you understand the significance of the Dreyfus affair. This is basically seen as the flashpoint where a lot of Jews at the time start to go, we're not really welcome here in Europe.
Yeah.
There are other journalists, notably Theodor Herzl, who is a Hungarian Jewish journalist living in France but working out of Vienna, basically. He is a Jewish journalist, and he is seen as one of the fathers of Zionism. He is one of the proponents who basically says, hey, we're not welcome in Europe as much as we thought we were. We need to find a new place to live. We need to relocate. And from there you get Jewish academics and everything. And it lays the groundwork for what will become Israel.
It is really interesting history for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a very thorough rundown of the movie, its history, and its lack of history. We'll get into more on how that influenced our thoughts on the movie.
Yeah.
But I would like to delve into a little bit of Oscar history as well.
Totally.
So, at these 10th Academy Awards, Louise Rayner, remember her?
Yes, love her. She won an Oscar, didn't she? I know she won 2 back-to-back and then left.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you loved her. None of us liked her performance in The Great
Well, because
Ziegfeld.
her character was annoying.
Yeah.
But she seemed like someone who would want to be my friend.
She made double Oscar history at these 10th Academy Awards. So she was the first back-to-back Oscar winner and the first person to win a second performance Oscar in any capacity. But she was following her win. There's a little context there because it was following her win from last week's The Great Ziegfeld. She won yet again this year for The Good Earth, where she played a Chinese farmer.
Shut up.
A Chinese farmer named Olan.
Oh, boy.
And she played that across prior year's Best Actor winner and current year's Best Actor nominee, Paul Muni,
Oh, no.
who plays a farmer named Wang.
Oh. And Paul Muni with this transformative acting.
Oh my god.
So, and again, as we've covered with Muni, but both Rader and Muni were European Jews. Feel the need to call that out in the context here.
Interesting.
So again, Rader,
Hey.
not only the first back-to-back Oscar winner, not only the first person to win a second performance Oscar, she was also the first Oscar winner who really should have been canceled. Probably,
Wait, you said-
probably not her fault, realistically, given the
Wow.
studio system back then. They should just probably not have done that in general.
Sound off in the comments on what you think here, folks.
But you said they're both Jewish?
Yeah,
What's wrong with that?
they weren't Chinese.
Okay. I'm keeping an eye on you,
You got
Adam.
any Halloween costumes from when you were a kid you want to
All
talk
right.
about, Sarah?
Oh no. Outside of that, voting had changed yet again so that there was no nomination committee. Instead, all 12,000 Academy members participated in both the nomination and the winner voting. This ceremony had the first ever refused nomination.
Ooh.
John Lee Mahan, he shunned his nomination as co-writer for the adaptation of Rudyard Kipling's seafaring adventure Captain's Courageous. He was protesting specifically the writers' branch of the awards committee, how they had been selected. However, when digging deeper, what that meant was Mahan's knock-off Writers Guild was excluded from voting, and that splinter group only existed because he thought the actual Screenwriters Guild had too many communist leanings.
Aye.
So it was really like 1930s Ben Shapiro.
Another Jewish guy.
Yeah. Well, do you claim him?
What's wrong with you? What's wrong?
This
What do you think is wrong with the
is
Jews?
our diciest episode yet by far.
And no, I don't claim Ben Shapiro.
The Life of Emile Zola was the night's big winner. It was also the first ever film nominated for double-digit Oscars,
Whoa.
with 10.
Okay.
And it took home 3 of them. Adapted screenplay, supporting actor, and outstanding production. For outstanding production, it beat out 9 other nominees, 2 of them being The Good Earth and Captain's Courageous, the ones I mentioned earlier. The rest of the nominees were, as usual, pretty diverse. There weren't any major adaptations, but it did have the original A Star is Born, directed by our friend William Wellman, who directed Wings. So it was him that we have responsible for the Bradley Cooper-Lady Gaga pairing.
Tell
could
me
be
something, girl.
There could be 99 people in a room.
Did I win?
And there can only be one person can say yes.
I like that movie a lot. I should rewatch it. It's been a long time. There were a few adaptations from plays. There was screwball divorce comedy The Awful Truth, starring Cary Grant, and Dead End, which was an intersecting noir set in a volatile New York City slum. Capra was back. He had a fantasy-adjacent adventure called Lost Horizon about a British plane that crashes in Tibet and finds the mythical city of Shangri-La.
Oh, that sounds
Smash.
awesome.
Yeah. In Old Chicago was a drama about brothers who become rivals, siblings to enemies. Plot.
Pass.
Stage Door starred Katharine Hepburn and Ginger Rogers and was about a bunch of actresses who live in the same boarding house.
Smash.
The tea. And last was a movie called 100 Men and a Girl.
Pass.
Oh.
Pass.
Any guesses what
I've
that's
seen-
about?
I think I've seen that one.
I've seen that one. Yeah. It always pops up on my private browsing.
All right. This was a feel-good musical about a girl who gets a symphony together using a bunch of her father's unemployed musician friends. All right.
Oh. I have not seen
I've
that
not
one.
seen that.
The last thing I will say about this year is that there is what you could consider an absolutely major snub. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs
True.
was made this year, receiving a special award for technical innovation at the next Oscars and a sole nomination in this year for score. So again, they rectified this issue, realizing their mistake. Walt Disney received an honorary Oscar that next ceremony. 1 Oscar statuette, 7 little ones to go alongside it.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
That's
Cute.
so cute.
I know. But imagine a world where this movie, Snow White, was nominated for, or even won Best Picture this year. Like, what?
It would make
that
sense.
would have, like
if we're
changed
talking about
the
technical,
whole...
like the technical element of it, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm showing my hand here, but I actually enjoyed The Life of Emile Zola. I haven't seen any of the other nominees, but Snow White really should have been the winner this year for a ton of reasons.
I haven't seen it, so I'll have to watch it.
I mean, it's great, but like, not only is it a really good movie, it changed everything.
Wait, was it animated or no?
Snow White?
It was animated.
Yeah.
Oh, so then I have seen it.
No, we're not talking about the live-action Gal Gadot and
That's what
Rachel
I thought.
Zegler one.
You thought I was talking about the Rachel Ziegler Gal Gadot movie
No,
being
no,
nominated for
no,
Best Picture
everybody-
in 1937?
Everybody rewind. No, I was not talking about that. I thought that maybe they made a live action one because I didn't know animated films were able to be.
This was
nominated.
the.
This was it.
This was the one that.
Really?
first one. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I got snubbed then.
totally.
That was
And,
fire.
and it's just that clearly they had no idea what to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, what is this?
You
We
look
can't
back, you look back at
nominate
it now, and you're like, this is the beginning of an entire empire, basically.
100%.
Like, but back then, yeah, they probably.
It's just kind of a weird novelty, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe in the year, at least in the Oscars kind of scenario. I'm sure it was very popular out in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like a world where that won Best Picture now, I think is completely changed the trajectory of the Oscars.
Yes.
They're very fascinating.
No animated film has ever won, right?
Nope. There have only been a handful of even ones
I
nominated.
think like Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty
is
and the
one of
Beast,
them.
Up was one of them. Toy Story 3
Yeah.
was one of them. But very few and very far between. There's some movies that were definitely, some would say, very deserving.
Yeah.
But was this a deserved win? I know I kind of talked about with the Snow White. I think we can all agree that Snow White is probably, many would agree, the rightful winner of this. Taking that out, how do we feel about Life of Emile Zola as a winner?
At the time, knowing the context, like the historical context of everything, I'm not shocked that this won.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest, if you look deeper into the history of all this is so slimy and frankly does not hold up in the greater historical context of what this film really showed and depicted versus what was cut, what was left out, and just the politics at the time. It's really unfortunate, I would argue.
Totally. I think viewed in a vacuum, watching this today, I was very entertained.
I was honestly entertained as well.
I was entertained. I felt like I learned a lot, but learning more, you see some
Feels
of
like
the
I've
cracks.
got robbed a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did really enjoy this movie.
Totally.
I thought it was really well acted, especially the guy who played Alfred Dreyfus. I
He
thought
won.
Yeah, I know. I thought exactly. I thought he was fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start saying, oh, this is such a Dreyfus affair.
Anytime you're
Every time
accused of something
anyone-
at work.
Exactly. Oh, this is such a Dreyfus affair. Come on.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Well, I don't know. If I might dig a little deeper just to show some context here. There is an obvious glaring issue with this movie. They don't mention the word Jew once.
Right.
There is one brief flash of the word Jew when they're looking at the file of not Richard Dreyfus.
Albert Dreyfus.
Alfred Dreyfus.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, but they never.
That was like
once-
about as much as they could sneak in about this.
Well, that's all that really they got away with.
Right. You said it was a Hays Code thing.
Well, it's not really Hays Code.
Okay.
It's not like explicitly Hays Code. It turns out Jack Warner, head of Warner Brothers at the time.
Jock Warner?
Jock Warner, yeah.
Well, I guess this time it's Jacques
So
Warner.
our friend Jack Warner, who was somewhat depicted in the Broadway Melody, specifically ordered, allegedly, that the word Jew be cut from the script entirely.
Wow.
Which is interesting because,
Release the Jew cut.
well, it's interesting because I believe he is...
Can I keep that?
Yeah. You have my permission.
Well, Jack Warner himself is Jewish.
I was going to ask.
So he himself is Jewish, and the Nazi consul to the U.S.
The what?
What?
The Nazi consul to the United States in
I mean,
Los
I
Angeles.
guess that makes sense. In Los Angeles.
No, that's not who Jack Warner was.
No, I know. But,
Yeah.
like, it's just the fact that there was a Nazi consul. But, again, they were
Yeah,
the
there was-
rightful...
There was...
They were the in power at the time,
Germany at the
warring.
time was treated, even under the Nazi regime, as a legitimate state.
Totally.
And
It's like
given-
jarring to hear that, though.
Yeah, but the Nazi consul at the time was allowed to review and provide recommendations on films as they were released. And they sometimes made changes based on the comments of the Nazi consul. And
I just want to say,
It's-
if everyone who is listening could see all of our faces as
Yeah.
Drew is explaining this to us.
and because they didn't want to antagonize the German audience and the Nazi government at the time, they pretty explicitly would cut things out that were at all critical of the Nazi
Yeah.
regime or anything that would even be seen as remotely favorable to the Jews. And in this quote, it says, or even a simple acknowledgement that they existed.
Great.
Damn.
Great.
Yeah. And which is, there's a lot of back and forth on like what the intent of this sort of thing was. There is also the element of like, this is Depression era America, and there was a lot of fear of fomenting political unrest,
right.
and that anything that even remotely swung towards any of these extreme ideologies, whether it was communism or Nazism or anything, might foment further unrest in America. So there was a lot of like touchiness about what you could and couldn't depict, even outside of the Hays Code. I mean, literally you have a Nazi reviewing some of these films and like telling you what you can and can't say, because there is also the international element too, where it's
it's like when they had the interview. They
They
didn't run it by North Korea.
Well, no, I mean, honestly, that's probably a good close example where there was just genuine fear that by releasing this, you would foment some level of unrest at an international scale.
I love that movie, by the way, The Interview. I'm serious.
Would you say that The Life of Emile Zola is very similar to The Interview?
100%. Yeah, he puts a nuclear bomb up his butthole and hides it.
That should, honestly, Dreyfus should have done that.
I would have done it.
But anyways, I bring all that up just so...
I think it's very cool historical context.
It is. Now with that, can you both say thank you, Sarah? Because I'm Jewish.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay.
Just a little Jew acknowledgement.
Yeah. All right, now on.
You did a land acknowledgement for Cimarron.
This is a great time as any to go on to the brain rot. I have 2 brain rot questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first one is, how would Emile Zola have fared in the world of TikTok? Would he have become an influencer? What would his content be like? I like to imagine...
This is the worst question.
I would imagine the kind of content of like, Emile Zola trashes the French.
Completely obliterates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to see like the clickbait for his...
I mean, the insanity that would happen if this was done in a social media would be crazy.
I think he'd have a really good Gen Z social media intern like Mom Donnie has.
Oh, he'd be like one of those old politicians who just happens to have an 18-year-old on staff who like keeps tweeting the F word.
Exactly.
Yeah. To make them feel hip.
Mm-hmm. Or he just wouldn't care. He'd be like, yeah, do whatever. You're young. You know it's good for you.
I mean, there would be grifters on all sides of the political aisle trying 100%. To use him for political leverage. Like there's... Oh, thank God this happened like 200 years ago. Like this is...
Again, it was really just born with this idea of like, Emile Zola destroyed his college kid.
Yeah. No, he totally would.
Well, that would also imply that people are reading the newspaper. Emile Zola's Substack probably goes crazy.
Yeah, he's probably not good for the short form.
No.
Okay, that was my first one. My second one is... a few years ago, there was a really famous Twitter thread that spawned a movie, Zola, about the stripper Zola. How would this movie be different if the stripper Zola was the main character?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that just be a Sean Baker movie?
Sean Baker didn't make Zola.
It's a little crazier than a Sean Baker. It's a little more like...
Yeah. But how would Zola have fared in
I haven't seen it.
1890s
France?
I would love to see the Zola Twitter or the Dreyfus Affair Twitter thread of Zola like exposing because I mean the people didn't know that this was happening at the time until it was exposed by journalists. And so it would. I mean, this is
the better Zola Twitter thread.
Yeah. If you're gonna talk,
Sarah, you should educate yourself on not only the Zola Twitter thread, not the movie, but also the Twitter thread. Twitter thread is probably better.
Probably the only movie I can think of that was ever created off of a Twitter thread.
100%, and that was kind of its marketing appeal at the time. It's a fun little movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Twitter thread.
It's like this stripper's like crazy true life story that you went on Twitter and like talked about and they eventually sold the rights for it.
Totally. Now everyone says their life story on TikTok. This is kind of one of the first harbingers of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Being able to sell your life story for that way. Anyway, a little bit of bearing around. What is everyone's final rating and verdict?
I'm really struggling.
I know, I'm conflicted.
Between like listening to the historical context, but how much I just really did enjoy watching it in the moment, which I think is what I always base my movies off, like always rate my movies off of that. It would be between like a 2.5 and a 3.
Okay.
I'll-
That's lower than I thought.
give
I
it a
thought you
3.
enjoyed it more.
No, I'll give it a 3. I'm going to give it a 3 because I enjoyed watching it and I thought the acting was very good.
Then what's bringing it down for you? Besides the historical stuff.
Even while I was watching it, I thought there was some parts where it was focusing a little too much on Dreyfus and I wanted to know more about Zola.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I felt about Ziegfeld. It sort of feels like they're just trying to get the events in there, the big events, and it's like I want to learn more about the person. So I felt like that was missing.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm going to give it a 3 because it was entertaining, it was well acted, but it just felt it was missing something.
I have a similar thought to you watching this. I was like, I'm very entertained. I'm learning a lot, I thought. And I still learn a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you learn half of it, you get most of the context later. I do think, as I kind of alluded to, the name of this movie I find a bit misleading.
So misleading.
It's
So
kind of like
misleading.
not really about the life of Emile Zola.
It's
The
not.
poster is misleading. The
Yeah.
title is misleading.
He's also not the most interesting part of the movie.
He's not.
Yeah.
I think that this would have been much better of an experience. And I will say, I actually did like the first arc, and I thought it was interesting seeing him like come to prominence with Nana and
Yes.
whatever. And I liked seeing him die. But like, I don't think that is the best telling of this specific story. Yeah. It is much more powerful if you just start with the Dreyfus affair and use Emile Zola as like a really elevated supporting character performance.
Exactly.
I think that's a really cool movie where he's this super dominant performance and presence in the movie, but used sparingly so that he hits with a super hard punch every time he's on screen.
But then that wouldn't necessarily have been the life of Emile Zola.
No,
like
it's a different movie.
I want to watch him grow up, and the biopic stuff. He gets hit by his dad, and then he starts drinking.
Right.
And, it's like okay, yeah, but I want to
And
see
then he
it.
writes Man in the Mirror.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, that's for last episode. You're done.
Yeah.
You're done. Okay, what's your rating?
No, I didn't give my rating.
Oh, sorry.
I will say I was at a 3.5 because I did enjoy watching it, but I think talking through the historical context, it's impossible to ignore. So for that, I will also knock down to a 3.
Okay.
I'm going to give this a 2, to be honest.
I mean, I think that
maybe...
you're very influenced by the historical stuff, which I think is completely legitimate.
I'm not going to lie, I also just did not find it that interesting. Like, the way the story is told, it's very confusing. It's both very confusing and very uninspiring. You're really, like... I don't know. There's not a lot of even development from Zola. It feels very like watch this man float through his Wikipedia page, except we're going to take out any of the actual like really interesting, like morally gray parts of this.
He's going to deliver 3 really good, really long monologues and not do that much else.
I'm also not that interested in most stories about writers. I think it's a very hard thing to bring to the screen. To a lesser extent. Like I also have trouble enjoying anything that's just about a musician. It's like I don't need the whole like, hey, I met this girl in a shop and it inspired this book.
Yeah,
it's like I just hate that stuff. It's so boring. It's not interesting. It's not visually appealing to watch a guy just like writing words down and then like, oh look, I sold some books. Like so even the first part I don't find that interesting. When they get to the Dreyfus affair stuff, it's entirely toothless. And like you said, there's already a much more interesting movie in there where Zola doesn't need to be the forefront of it, and you can actually address some of the complexity of this. And the more and more you read about this movie, the more you're just like, this is just like castrated. There's nothing to this. It sort of seems like, hey, we're going to pat ourselves on the back for bringing to light this this very serious issue, but we're not going to address.
But we're not actually going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like honestly, this is Blindside levels of like patting yourselves on the back, where it's like I just there's nothing. If you're not going to mention anti-Semitism or the word Jew in the flashpoint case of anti-Semitism, don't make the movie. Just don't make it.
Just say this movie being compared to The Blind Side was not on my being going into this episode, but I love it, honestly.
I stand by that opinion. I think it's like a pretty textbook case of an Oscar movie just having no teeth to it, but like taking all the credit of saying something, quote unquote. This is like the prototype of all of that.
Gotcha.
And for that, 2 stars.
2 stars. Impassioned.
It's not done it's not created poorly.
Yeah.
It's very competently made as a story. I think just the script itself does nothing.
Yeah. I think this is, for me, too, going into this, I thought it was going to be one of the more maligned Best Picture winners. I think people like, oh, it didn't deserve, like, this is just like a weird movie that won. It exceeded my expectations given that. Mm-hmm. So, from an entertainment perspective.
Yeah.
Same. I'm right there with you.
I mean, like, even in the context of the 1930s right now,
Yeah.
you are leading up to World War II.
Right.
And this is just such, like, turn a blind eye to the real issue.
It's limp.
Exactly. It's just so indicative of everything that leads to the next decade of history.
God, just wait till we get to the next one. It's even more fluffy.
Yeah.
But I do want to acknowledge one thing. This is our 10th episode.
Oh.
We've done 10 of these things, which is, I think, a pretty impressive milestone.
Yeah.
But I wanted to take this chance to bookmark, and I would like to do this every time we complete 10 episodes. Let's do a little Big Five Oscar ceremony for us.
Okay.
We can come to a quick agreement on what's the Big Five for the first 10 Oscars. Actor, actress, screenplay, directing, picture, just solely considering everything that's in only the movies that we've discussed as, say, the nominees. So... start with actor. My nominees, it's either going to be Clark Gable in It Happened One Night or Charles Laughton in Mutiny on the Bounty.
I'm going to say...
If you guys have any other options for that, happy to discuss.
No Love for Dick Dix, perhaps?
Nah, man, I hated his performance.
I know.
Best leading actor?
Yeah.
I will say... I really loved Clark Gable in It Happened One Night.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
ate those carrots.
He did.
A slutty little mustache.
Yeah, like it was just, the role was just so it was just so natural for him. It just felt like there was no overacting. Whereas I felt like I liked Charles Laughton, but I do feel like it's what people were saying back then. I do feel like he was a little too hammy for me on the role. And it's not to say, I think he's a great actor, but I just do think that Clark Gable's performance is just like way more captivating to me.
One for Gable, Drew.
I'm going to give this to Laughton. I think
give this to Laughton. I'm the swing vote.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one to Laughton. I think I just enjoyed Mutiny on the Bounty the most, I think, of any of these movies. Yeah. I think he really elevates it. The movie exists. Like, the movie is as good as it is because of his villainy, I guess, in there.
Why don't you go last next time so you're not the swing vote? You go last every single time.
I just
He's not the swing vote. I'm the swing vote.
Oh, didn't you just say Laughton?
No, I said it was between those two.
Oh, then you go.
This might be controversial. I think I'm going to go Laughton. It's close.
That's not controversial. He was a very well-known actor.
Yeah.
A very renowned actor.
But
you're both wrong, but...
Yeah. I love him both.
I'll split it and change my vote to Clark Gable in Mutiny on the Bounty.
Oh my God.
No, I want to be Clark Gable.
All right. Actress is the next one. For me, it's easily Claudette Colbert. I don't think there's anyone
100%.
who's even in competition.
No, I don't think so.
Unless we love Sabra, but I will shoot that one down.
I'll give Sabra a little love, but no, I think you're right. Yeah.
It's Claudette. I think I just clearly love It Happened One Night.
Totally.
Everything about that movie was good.
There's unfortunately not a lot of meaty women roles.
For sure. That's kind of the issue.
Which happens when half of your movies are about wars and the military.
Yeah,
Navy.
Definitely. What about screenplay?
It Happened One Night.
It has to be.
I'm sorry, It Happened One Night sweeps for me.
Yeah.
The dialogue. It was just so
I think
juicy.
from just like a purely screenplay perspective, I don't think you're beating It Happened One Night from the first 10 that we've watched.
I don't think
probably.
so. It was so meaty.
Totally.
It
was a script movie though.
It was a script movie. 100%. I love movies like that where it's like the script, the characters.
Yeah.
Boom.
Drew, any rebuttal?
No, y'all can have that. I don't really.
What do you mean y'all can have that?
No, I'm not. I don't have a strong opinion. I think yours is fair.
Yeah.
The only one that I find maybe remotely more a little competitive is maybe Mutiny on the Bounty, it is based on a book and the end it does get a little whatever. But
yeah, okay. It Happened One Night. Directing. I think this will be a fun discussion.
Okay, I'll go last because I haven't gone last yet.
Okay. I think for me, the nominees I would consider for this are Frank Lloyd for Mutiny on the Bounty. I think he directed that really well. And Louis Milestone for Wings.
I was going to say Wings too.
I think Wings is the best directed movie thus far.
Yeah.
So I think I would throw it in for Wings. But Mutiny on the Bounty I think is well directed. Capra does a great job in It Happened One Night, but I just think I think something showier, more technical, is a really important aspect of the directing think Milestone nailed that.
I agree.
And then you've got All Quiet on the Western Front, which I think is directed well, but I would just give the edge to Wings over it.
Yeah.
I definitely think Mutiny on the Bounty beats Wings by a long shot.
For directing?
For directing, in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay.
Wings was really cool. I love that movie, but there was just there was a lot more variety in the directing, I feel like, in Mutiny on the Bounty. Like, Wings was really ahead of its time, but I also feel like Mutiny on the Bounty was in a different way. And I don't know, it was just...
I think I was saying Lewis Milestone for Wings. I meant
William A. Wellman. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My bad. Drew, do you stay strong?
I think I'll give it to Wings. I think the technical element of the aerial fights and everything is just even today that would be crazy to film.
And also, Frank Lloyd gave us Cavalcade. That's got to count for something against him.
No,
I do think both are very impressive.
Stick with Wings.
But I give it to Wings. And and there are shots from that still stick out to me. That one
the tracking
through
shot.
the tracking shot through the Parisian cafe or streets or whatever. That was very cool.
And lastly, we have Picture, which is a tough call. I think for me, it's going to be one of my 4.5s, which is either It Happened One Night or Mutiny on the Bounty. I know Drew is strongly Mutiny on the Bounty.
Yeah, I'll give it to that.
But where do we land, Sarah?
It's hard. I'm in the same, no pun intended, boat as you.
If it is pure enjoyment and entertainment,
It Happened One Night.
It Happened One Night. But if I'm saying what I think is best picture whole package,
Mutiny on the Bounty.
I think I'm going Mutiny.
Okay,
on the Bounty.
same.
Yeah.
That's same.
Okay. We're all in agreement.
Very political answer.
I love It Happened One Night. I think it's great, but I think that if we are just comparing these apples to apples right now, it is a barely edged out because I do really like how well directed Mutiny on the Bounty is.
Is Best Picture?
It just has that flair.
What does that encompass? Just
whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Well, if it's Best Picture, then my favorite movie of the thing is It Happened One Night.
Yeah.
But the Mutiny on the Bounty, I feel like, I don't know.
Best picture, outstanding production. I think it can mean what you want. There are plenty of times where, this is my favorite movie of the year. I don't think Hereditary deserved to win Best Picture in 2018. But I love that movie. It is by far one of my favorite movies.
Because Mutiny on the Bounty dragged a bit for me. It was fun, it was great, but it did drag a little bit. There was parts where I was like, we don't need all this.
Yeah.
But It Happened One Night to me was just so sharp. It was so, they used their time so efficiently. There was nothing in there that I would have honestly cut. So maybe I'll just say that one.
Well, I think I'll stick with Mutiny and the Bounty. Even though I would still rank It Happened One Night, again, just purely enjoyment.
Yeah.
But for the whole package, I'll go with the Bounty.
Yeah.
So there we go. All right, and that's that. That's done with our first 10.
Yay, double
90
digits.
more to go.
Yay.
But join us next week as we go back to rom-com Capperganda.
Woo!
With 1938's You Can't Take It With You. It's where Capper continues to tackle romance across class divides with his signature feel-good charm. It's a win in stark contrast with the state of the pre-World War II world.
Yeah, let's go! Capricorns, rise up.